Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Ted, hanging out with some of the crew today.
Dave.
Nate.
And today we're going to do another Unorthodox build.
Unorthodox build / killer combo / whatever the hell we call these things.
The Drow Wizard.
The Drow Wizard. Well, it's funny too, because like the Drow Wizard feels like it shouldn't be an unorthodox build.
Yes.
Because they're so prevalent within Drow society. Matter of fact, like especially if you're taking like the lore from Forgotten Realms, if you're a Drow man, like the best thing you can do is probably be a wizard.
Yeah.
You know, they get a little bit of respect because they can disintegrate your ass.
So maybe now should it be a cultural shift so that you're more of like a sorcerer or a warlock? You know, as that's like your primary thing, like being bound to the Spider Queen is like the best thing you can do. Being a minion of hers, I think that would actually be pretty cool.
Well, it is kind of interesting, but here's my opinion: anything that can have clerics would not have a warlock. You know, I feel like the things that have warlocks have a limited number of basically people that they can give their power to.
Right.
You know, where a deity can broadcast, it's almost like, you know, they receive like this power from their worshippers, and then they can give it back, you know, to as many as they need to. Where I feel like a warlock patron can probably only have so many warlocks under their belt.
Yeah, like peeling off a sliver of its power and saying, "Here, you get this until you disobey me enough."
Right.
Yeah,
and then I'll find a way to punish you.
Is kind of is kind of how I feel about it. And then you know, so then you have the sorcerer, right, which works, but thematically for the Drow, they're traditionally pointy hat robes.
Right.
Yeah,
they're supposed to be trained, not something that's, you know, innately born.
So maybe there is still just Drow wizards are prevalent, and they just say, you know, forget you +1 the charisma.
Yeah,
I'm a wizard.
Well, you were, you know, talking.
I've
about
been
this.
around for longer than you.
You were talking this, you know, off camera. There's 3 sub races in the PHB. And then it's like, okay, if their prime stat is Dex, you know, their secondary stat, they, you know, did they make the choice to spread it across the 3 mental stats just to have a different view, or did they feel that, you know, the charisma best fits the Drow?
Yeah, in my grumpier days at Watts, I think about like, oh yeah, did they just like split everything up? I like the idea of not doubling up on so many things that were doubled up in 3. It's kind of like, well, everybody can do this, like one little ability kind of feeling to it, while this is all split up and they only added something when it actually was relevant to adding something new. So you had, you have these 2 elves. Well, let's add the 3rd one. We'll say they're the dark elves, and just instead of their +1 intelligence, which is what they probably would have gotten, we'll just give them the charisma bump. So...
well, they did double up on the Eladrin. I mean, although it's not, I know it's not a PHB race. But
yeah.
You know, it's in the DMG, and Eladrin is the same as High Elf.
Yeah, pretty much.
So okay, so let's build this wizard.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, it's a Drow wizard. You know, do we start off with our stats, our focus as a wizard, a background? You know, where do you want to start this engine?
Well, that's a very good question.
Because if you don't know where you're gonna go wizard wise, your stats are gonna be a little off. If you
it's intelligence pretty much, unless you're an enchanter.
Really, your intelligence. You're either saying, do I get a +2 to hit with my spell powers, or do I get a +3 to hit with my spell powers? And with a Drow, you're not going to get that +3. So the question's already answered.
Right. But so
you're going to put your 14 in intelligence.
So, all right. So put your 14 in intelligence. You know. But are we trying to be a charismatic wizard, a very dexterous wizard? You know, like you say, all right. Well, if you put your 15 in Dex, that puts you up to a 17.
Yeah.
If you put your 13 in Charisma, that bumps you up to a 14. So now you've got an equal charismatic, equal wisdom. Or is Charisma not really worth it for this character? So do you just dump it?
Well, if you want to go Enchanter, then that would actually play to a bit of the Drow strength. With doing that?
Yeah, I mean, with wizards, especially in this edition, I always just kind of want to dump strength. You know, drop that 8 into strength. Like, if your strength comes into play as a wizard, things have gone horribly wrong.
I don't know. Scott's character in my game totally, swiped the dagger out of the rogue's hand. And
yeah, but that's probably that wizard training from a halfling mentor. it was just weird. But yeah, I mean, there are exceptions to the rules. That's true. Scott's wizard did disarm someone unarmed and then stab them with their own knife. It was a little crazy.
Yeah.
But for the most part, if we're trying to build an optimal build, I don't think our wizard's going to be running around trying to disarm people.
Okay.
No.
Especially a drow.
And really, with that -1 to athletics, athletics when someone tries to grapple you or mess around with you or shove you.
Use your dex.
Use your dex, acrobatics, and then that's it. Don't try and grapple people.
Ninja flip.
You grapple people when you have Big Z's grasping hand or something.
All right, so that's easy enough. So now we're looking at an 8 strength, a 14 intelligence,
and a 17 dex.
And we can go 17 dex. Or, depending, if we want to make him, an enchanter and basically build him around that, we could always make it a 16 charisma. If we wanted to make him more of a talky character, really play off of his intellectual stats, and so we still have a 12, right? We could slap into dex.
Right, that would put it up to a 14.
That would put it up to a 14, so 8, 14, blank, 14, blank, 16. So...
Alright, so we've used our 15 for charisma, we've used our 14 for intelligence, and we've used our 12 and our 8. So we have a 10 and a 13 left.
So a 10 and a 13. Well...
10 wisdom, 13 con, or vice versa.
Or, let's, if we're going with, this is a mental character, let's really go against the norm.
Okay.
Make it a completely unorthodox build, and give him the 13 wisdom and the 10 con.
Okay.
That hurts me so much, but yeah, let's go for it.
It goes against, it goes against my character build to have a low, not even have a single modifier in con. It's scary.
I'm crushing your inner power gamers.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, it hurts, but like I said, let's go for it.
All right, so we've got 8, 14, 10, 14, 13, 16.
Yeah. He's pretty. He's so goddamn pretty.
He's got that.
That's why he doesn't need the con. He's so pretty.
He's got that drow charm.
Yeah, dude, I'm seeing kind of a suave, debonair, ladies' man. Which could be very good or very bad in drow society. I think both of them can get... I think he can get you killed either way.
Yeah.
All right, so now do we wind up going with the stereotype? Is he a sage for a background? Or is there something that's a little more interesting? That's gonna fit this guy.
I almost want to try and go off the wall with it completely, but they don't actually have that background.
Well, what background would you? What would you say you'd want to have for him?
Like a consort or something.
Well, what if you want off the wall?
Isn't it just an entertainer for one person? No, I'm serious. Intellectual discussions. There's all kinds of things you do. You're basically somebody's paid company.
I love that philosophy. You're an entertainer for one person. Watch me juggle.
No, I mean let's play chess. Let's talk about whatever government or something, or whatever the person likes to do.
What about acolyte?
That would be super against, especially if he's actually from the Underdark.
But if he's from the Underdark, he'd be an acolyte, in drow society. He'd have spent time serving the church, which fits drow culture.
Okay.
Although, I mean, well,
do you mean
not really, because if you're going off of Forgotten Realms lore, the priestesses are always female.
They are,
even the priestesses' assistants, right? It's not like they have altar boys kind of thing. So
there are male priests. They're just rare. They have to fight and claw their way to the top, and even...
I don't think there is a top. There's definitely a glass ceiling there.
Yeah, it's called acolyte. Yeah. So he went on to do his wizardly stuff.
Or maybe it's something a little bit more interesting than that, and maybe he infiltrated the church, and actually had to go through all the training to do such. So instead of going with a variant criminal background or something, the spy, we go with the acolyte because he
See
actually
if
kind of
he's the
became that thing.
acolyte variant spy master.
Maybe.
It's basically like, you get all the benefits of, being an acolyte, but he did it, through training and infiltration as opposed to, legitimately being there.
Okay. We could go for that.
And as far as actual, like the actual need for any kind of like rogue type skills, he could just make up for with magic.
Right.
Be like just Jedi mind trick people.
Mage hand.
Yeah.
Friends people. Of course.
You didn't see me here, and then like a minute later they're like, wait a minute, I totally saw you.
And you
there.
totally used magic on me. You're a jerk.
I so hate the enchantment spells in this edition.
Yeah, I only went with enchanter because I'm like 14th level, and that all goes away. They're not even enchanters until then.
So
They're just people that get in trouble.
we have gotten quite a few arguments in the comments
Awesome.
about about enchanters not sucking.
Yeah, I mean they can still take fireball. They're not restricted to other spells outside of enchantment.
Yeah, well, I guess I don't know if these people that feel that way are just like, they're just only looking at it from like a combat point of view, where you're right. A minute spell is all that you need for duration for combat. But we like to look beyond that and go, well, what happens when you're in a town where you have to live?
Right.
Yeah, when you're just trying to not get arrested by the guards or something.
Now, if you are a town enchanter, you should be able to, Jedi mind trick people all over the place, and then they don't know that they're beguiled. They don't know that they've been influenced, and you yourself have entirely stolen a campaign from me with what you wanted to do.
That's pretty much why they did that. I don't see any other, I'm not going to say I know their mindset, but if I was going to rewrite the rules for an edition,
but
I would have included,
there's a huge difference
hey, by the way, you
between
can't
not
take over an
knowing.
entire town.
That was second edition
with the first level character.
That was second edition where the saving throw was like, oh, your intelligence is a 10, you can get another save in 30 days. That was one of those things that, Dave exploited. And I have no problems with it. As a DM, I ran with it. And in third edition, they corrected that. But just to say, okay, in a minute, they know that you've affected them with this spell, I think that totally takes it away, from the whole theme of the character. And as you say, that you have to get to 14th level to be an enchanter, and before that, you're just not. That's the selling point to me. It's like, all right, well, if you have to wait to 14th level, although
that brings up the other question, if we're going to actually house rule that it doesn't work that way, we're going to have to give the enchanter something at 14th level.
Yeah, that'll be another discussion for another time.
Congratulations, you got a blank level because we made you not stink for your entire character's history. Enjoy.
Wow, that feels unsatisfying. So, best way to do
wait
it
until 14th level. That's fine.
The best way to do it is not be an enchanter and call yourself an enchanter. I'm actually an invoker that specializes in enchanting.
I don't touch those things, those spells that mess with people's minds. I blow stuff up.
So, that being said, so our guy is kind of like an infiltrator.
Mm-hmm.
He could be working for a house, or he could work independent, or he just could be a free roaming agent of chaos.
I see this as if we're looking at the infiltration level, he could be working for the archmage to basically, I almost want to say, kind of be his puppet, to be like, okay, you need to, give me whatever bits of information that is going to allow us to stay as elevated as we are, because the church and the academy are always kind of at that feudal war, because Drow society, everyone's always at war.
So we have the background acolyte. Mm-hmm. So what do you get from acolyte? Is that religion and history?
I think so.
I want to say religion and insight, or religion and medicine.
I'll just look it up.
And then you get, does acolyte give you 2 languages?
Probably.
I think so.
And then and basically their background feature is you got a place where you can rest your head,
right,
and probably put up some of your friends as well.
Insight and religion.
Okay.
And 2 languages.
Mm-hmm.
There you
Okay. So insight, religion. See, it's a good thing we didn't dump that wisdom. Now we can use it for insight. And then as a wizard, we're going to get to pick 2.
Right.
So this guy is a little bit light on the skills, unfortunately.
Yeah, because he's probably going to take Arcana.
Yeah, you would want.
So he
Arcana.
has what? The
So
ability to see.
he's got one more.
Yeah. Well, as a wizard, you don't really have a great spell selection. I'm sure insight and maybe investigate. Investigate would be appropriate for infiltrator kind of character.
Or persuasion or deception.
Well, yes, persuasion.
Persuasion.
I would go with either persuasion or deception.
Yes, but I didn't say those because I don't think they get
But
them.
the question is, do they get them?
No. Arcana, history, insight, investigation, medicine, religion. So, to get persuasion, we'd have to choose a different background.
Or they're kind of interchangeable. You could take insight. We could go on with what we're doing. We could take insight from wizard and swap out the religion, not the religion, the insight from being an acolyte and take deception.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean it is because he is being an infiltrator acolyte,
Right.
Yeah, because it's not really set. The backgrounds aren't really set in stone. They give you a little bit of wiggle room.
Right. And they say you can build your character in any way. So if you wind up getting a skill that you already have, you can pick something else. So if you pick your class first and then you pick your background and you've already got that thing, you get something else.
Yeah. Well, technically, the way they tell you to build is race, class, background, which is backwards to me anyway. I think you should pick your race, and then you should pick your background, and then take the class from there.
I agree. That is the typical chronological build. But if this guy's a wizard first before he becomes the acolyte, then technically that would be hell.
How it would actually come into play because he did his apprenticeship first, and then, well, yeah, that's true. But either way, it doesn't matter.
So his drow started at a young age.
Yeah, you can switch them all out. Drow live a long time. Yeah, so our infiltrator acolyte is the unorthodox build, and I don't know if I feel satisfied with it with the drow wizard. It's like it's not the drow wizard from the books.
Well, we all can't be Grumph.
Well, we can't all be Grumph. That is true. So, but it's workable. This is a face character. He's not going to be on the front line of combat. His although we could actually probably even out Dex and Con if we wanted to. What did we put? We put the 12.
We put the 12 in we put the 12 in Dex. So if you went 10 in Dex and 12 in Con, they'd both be at a +1. It's do you want a hit point or do you want an AC?
I want a dodge attack, so I'd like an AC.
Well, it's a hit point per level.
Yeah.
So it depends on how you want to build it. Sometimes I like kind of like average stats.
Yeah,
but
there's a benefit to getting
a bonus all over the place.
Yeah, a whole bunch of bonuses as opposed to like just in certain places, and they're not restricted to spells. So I mean, you can take mirror image, you can take a whole bunch of things that don't require concentration.
Right.
That are going to get you in a good position. Mage armor, all that stuff is going to help you out. So to be more combat, less squishable.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, my line of thinking with this character is like the closer he gets to the front line, the more south things have gone. It's like as with any good mage, but especially this one. He wants to hang in the back and he wants to step to the front when it's time to talk to people.
Indeed.
Because that's what he excels at. He's good at reading people. He's good at persuading them. Even without the persuasion skill.
Right. He's charismatic. He's got a 16. That's pretty good.
So I think this guy's done. I think he could survive in the Underdark and create some chaos and subterfuge.
I think so as well.
What do you guys think? Were you going to say something?
No, that's it. Go ahead.
All right. What do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. You can subscribe, and even share.
You can check us out on nerdarchy.com.
Let's join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time, stay nerdy.